Joining us right now, the general manager of the New York Football Giants, and that's Dave Gettleman. Dave, Joe, and Evan, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Happy New Year, guys.
Same to
you. Congratulations on your new time slot.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
And in honor of you and something you said, what up, Dave?
What up?
Let me ask you this, all right? Well, that was one of the entertaining parts of your press conference.
I understand.
You mentioned, look, there's a business where you're always, your job's never safe. You're a GM of a football team. Did you think at any moment over the last few weeks, months of the season, did you think, they're going to get rid of me? I'm going to lose my job as the GM of the Giants?
Of course.
And when did that change? When they firmly said, Mara put his arm around and said, we love you, Dave, we're keeping you?
That's a question you should ask them.
No, but I'm asking you, when did you know, okay, I'm safe? You just said you thought.
Yeah, just the other day.
Wow.
Do
you look back at your 2 years here and say, why would they even think that? Like, I've gotten the franchise quarterback. I've gotten Saquon. I know we haven't won a lot of games, but this shouldn't even be consideration. What was your thoughts about that?
My thoughts were, listen, this is a bottom-line business, and it's about winning. And we hadn't won enough, and I'd been a part of it. So like I said at the end of my presser when they asked me how would I grade myself, not good enough. We all have high standards, and we all expect, to be the best, and that's what we shoot for. And that obviously I obviously haven't met that standard, and I'm disappointed.
Dave, are you solely responsible for hiring a new coach? Is it just going to be your call?
No. Gosh, no.
Okay.
It's John, Mara, Steve Tisch, and myself and Kevin Abrams.
Before we look forward to who that guy should be, and as you can imagine, every caller on New York Sports Talk Radio has an opinion on who it should be.
Right.
It's always good and healthy to look back. Why did Pat Shurmur not work as the head coach of the New York Giants?
Listen, Pat is as fine and as kind a man as I've ever worked with. And again, like I told you before, we didn't win enough.
No, look, obviously, but it didn't feel as if he was the right coach for this team. I think there was a sense that if there was better coaching in place, this team could have won a few more games. Now, first of all, do you disagree with that statement?
Well,
yes.
Listen, I'm not going to speak negative about anything, about anybody.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm just not going to go there, guys.
Okay.
All right, so let's go over to the quarterback now. You took a lot of heat for drafting this kid with the 6th pick in the draft. We heard it from Giant fans over and over and over again. You could have got him later. All of that. Maybe they wanted Haskins, whatever. I understand as a starter, he only won 3 games. I get that. But he certainly looks like you got something here with this quarterback. Are you happy with what you saw the first year out of Jones?
Yeah, absolutely. We're very excited about it. He is he's a terrific young man. He's very talented. He's the kind of guy that, listen, you guys know that it takes a special kind of person to flourish in this market. All right? Eli set the standard. Let's be honest. And that was one of the things that was very important to us. We all knew we needed a quarterback, because Eli's time was coming to an end. We all knew that. Everybody in the free world knew that. And what was really important to us was not only to have the physical skills, but to have the mental skills to negotiate metropolitan New York. And we feel very comfortable saying that Daniel has those skills. As a player, he showed the ability to do everything, guys. He's a much better athlete than people realize. He can make all the throws. He led us to a come from behind win. He led us to a win in overtime. And as a rookie, and he did some really impressive stuff. So.
And let's be honest, and you deserve a lot of credit for this one, because that was a pick as soon as it was made. Oh, my God.
Unbelievable.
How could Dave Gettleman do this?
Right, that's all we heard.
And so far, a year in, it looks like a brilliant pick. What did you see? Because you mentioned it's more than just the physical tools. It's handling this town. We certainly know that. What did you see that convinced you, I'm not only going to take this guy, I'm taking this guy right now. I'm not going to waste time and try to get him, later in the first round or anything.
Okay. Well, very quickly, I'll take you through the process. We looked at all the quarterbacks, and right up front, Pat was most enamored with Daniel. And, we just kept investigating, and you look at Pat's history with quarterbacks, it's really kind of unique with the quarterbacks that he's coached, the young guys, and what he's gotten out of them. So, for him to be that enamored with him, I certainly, that old saying, iron sharpens iron. So, it certainly made me do my homework. And I've said this before, guys. One thing that Ernie taught me, Ernie Accorsi, taught us all, is that if you're looking for a quarterback, you have to see him play live. You just can't watch film. So I had seen, three of the guys play live. My schedule hadn't worked out where I could see Daniel. So I went to the Senior Bowl and stayed for the game for the first time ever in 30 years of scouting, because nobody stays for the game. None of the scouts. Thursday night, we're all on planes out of there. So anyhow, watching him on the field that day, I said, "There's a professional." I had done all the work already. It convinced me he was a professional quarterback. Now, in terms of taking him at 6 and the speculation he would have been there later, that's fine and dandy, but at the end of the day, if you have that much conviction, you got to pull the trigger then. He was there, and you got to take him. And I made this statement in the presser. Given my background here and other places, it killed me to go past that pass rusher from Kentucky, the local kid, Josh Allen.
Right. Yep.
I mean, that was hard. That was really hard for me to do, or hard. So anyhow, the bottom line is, I felt that strongly, and I knew I was going to catch a ration. So you just keep moving. Can't be afraid.
Again, we're talking to Dave Gettleman, of course, the GM of the Giants. Did you have an eye on Joe when you drafted Barkley the year before with the second pick? You took heat again for that. We should have took Darnold, should have took Allen, whatever.
Right.
You're taking heat all the time here, Dave. Did you have an eye already saying, this kid at Duke, we got an eye on this kid. We maybe can get him without, early next year. Was that in your mind at all when you took Barkley?
No. I'd be lying if I said yes. No, I did not. I knew through our director of college scouting, Chris Pettit. Chris told me, Dave, he said, Dave, there's going to be some cues next year.
Right.
And again, what everybody's got to understand, taking Saquon 2 years ago was not a statement about other players. It was a statement about Saquon.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay, that's what everybody's got to understand. So no, I like I said, I'd be lying if I told you. If I said that, Chris just told me, Dave, there will be quarterbacks next year. I said, okay. He told me, you listen to your lieutenant, so to speak, and you take heed and you keep moving.
What are you looking for in the next head coach of this team?
Well, I really believe that the head coaching position is a CEO position. It really is. In this day and age, you think of all the different tentacles, so to speak, of a football operation. So he's got to be CEO smart, intelligent. He's got to be focused, and of course, he certainly has to be a leader, because one of the things that makes football unique are the number of people involved in getting it right, and there's got to be leadership.
How soon do you think we'll see a coach with the Giants?
I'll be frank, we've got a fairly full plate of interviews. As everybody knows, we just finished with Chris Rashad from the Cowboys, the defensive coordinator. He's a very impressive guy, and we really enjoyed our time with him. And we've got some others lined up, and it's one of those deals where it's not about who gets it right, who gets there first. It's about getting it right. And that's what we're really focused on.
Yep, no doubt.
Does having past head coaching experience matter to you? Is that significant when deciding?
Well, I don't think that in my mind that's not the be all end all. But obviously, if you've been a head coach before, you've sat up high, you've gotten out of the weeds. You've been up on the cloud, and you got a little different view.
Hey, when you're doing one of these interviews, are you, because you mentioned earlier, it's not just you making the decision, it's a group decision. Who's leading the interview? Are you kind of like dictating where the interview goes when you're talking to a Chris Rashad you just spoke to? Take us in for the fan who's never been a part of one of these kinds of things.
Well, it's our ownership sets the tone.
Right.
Okay, and we've got a series of questions that we've general questions for all of the people, all of the interviewees. John has his set of questions that he's going to ask everybody, and then we have very specific questions about various and sundry things. And then, of course, if there's a personal question, we ask a personal question. But it's John's going to set the tone, and and I'm going to get a little bit more into the nuts and bolts of it.
Right.
And Kevin Abrams brings his angle, and it's a pretty thorough process. Not pretty, it's a very thorough process.
And if a guy says, I like you, Dave, I do, but I want to be the final decider on personnel moves, that is something that you and ownership, you're actually open to that, like, all right, maybe we'll consider that.
Let me say this to you. I'm going to do whatever it takes to help the New York Football Giants win a Super Bowl.
Including that.
I just told you. I'm going to do everything it takes.
That's a humble thing, though, isn't it? Like if somebody says basically you're going to get sort of a little bit of a demotion. That's a humble thing to be okay with that.
I learned a long time ago, one of the biggest issues we have as men is we're about control and credit. Let's just be a team, and let's win the prize.
Again, talking to the GM of the Giants, Dave Gettleman. All right, another controversial move I got to throw at you, Dave. You made the trade for Leonard Williams with the Jets. Obviously, he's a free agent at the end of the year. So I'm going to throw a two-pronged question at you. Why did you make that deal, and are you going to re-sign him?
Okay, number one, I want to know how upset you were when we made the trade.
Dave.
You got it backwards.
I'll buy you dinner, Dave. I am so tired of hearing that this guy gets close to the freaking quarterback. And you know what? The defense played better. I'm talking about the Jet defense. Obviously, you know my deal. The Jet defense played better when he was gone. So there you go. So I was very happy about it, Dave.
There you go. Good for you. Good for you. You know what? He who laughs last.
All
but
right.
anyhow,
hey, look, you know
anyhow,
what?
we made. Let me.
Go ahead.
We made the trade. We're trying. We're trying to improve. Improve our front. We felt he fit. He's a versatile player. He's still young. He's healthy. We felt we wanted to make the move. Of course, we're going to try to sign him. He's told me that he wants to be here, so we're going to try to make that happen.
Okay. By the way, because I think Joe and I have said this about Leonard Williams. I don't want you to think that we think the guy stinks or anything.
No, we didn't say that.
I think I've always viewed him this way. I think you agree, Joe. I don't want to speak for you.
Go ahead.
Good player, not a great player.
Right.
That was kind of the sense. And look, that's a tough decision for you because you want to sign him, but you're not going to give him $180 million. Like you have to give him something that you feel is worth the price of what he brings as a player.
And let me say this too, Dave. I expected more from a guy who was the 6th overall pick in the draft, and all you heard was this guy's the best player in the draft. So I think that's part of it, too.
I got you. Okay.
Because here's the thing about free agent. Well, you know this. I don't have to tell you this. You want him back. He wants to come back. That's great. I'm sure as a human, he also wants to get paid the most. And all it takes is one team who may not be you to say, you know what? We're going to give this guy an absurd amount of money in which you could say, look, I like the player, but I can't give him that kind of money. So I think that's the concern that you could lose him. Maybe not even get a pick back because if you spend money in free agency, you may not get the compensatory pick back. So I think is that any kind of concern in free agency that I just laid out could happen?
Listen, anything could happen. All right? We know what our intent is, and our intent is to sign him.
What's your view right now on this offensive line? Do you feel like you have to make more significant moves to get this line to where you want it to be?
I feel real good about our inside three. We're pretty stout inside, and Nate Solder admittedly had a tough year. He admits it. Okay, and he's a pro, and he's going to work to get better. And the right tackle, Mike Remmers, had a fairly solid year. I mean, people want to say it's a disaster. It's not, but at the same time, I'm not afraid to draft over anybody.
Could you see moving Solder to the other side?
That would be for the new coach.
How about the center? He got hurt there. It looks like it's a pretty significant injury. Is he going to be ready for the season, Dave?
Yeah. But we were very fortunate. He tore the Achilles, but he's the repair went very well. He's already had the surgery, and he good Lord willing, he'll be ready to rock and roll for camp.
When you look at your team next year, and you said it, you got to win games, clearly. There's got to be wins there. And you mentioned at your press conference the young guys have to get better. Absolutely true. You got a lot of young players. What about this roster do you look at and say, okay, I got to make this better? This I have to address. What do you view as that number one priority going into the offseason?
Well, everybody everybody east of the Pacific Ocean is going to tell you we need a pass rusher. Okay, and I don't disagree. It comes back down to run the ball, defense the run, and rush the passer. Marcus Golden did a fine job for us, and had a real quality year. But we need more. We need more pass rush, and it's that's what it is.
Dave, how about some of these young guys you drafted? Because I think you drafted a lot of talented guys that with the right coaching, I think could be something. And I'm basically talking about the guys on defense, Lawrence, all the guys in the secondary. You could throw Darius Slayton in there as well, the kid that got hurt, Connolly, the linebacker. There's a bunch of guys that, look like they got something. They had some rough patches, no doubt, this year. But how about that overall? I mean, the draft, I thought overall was, pretty good.
Well, thanks.
Just you're welcome, Dave.
Oh gosh, listen, we as I've said before, we've changed our scouting system around when I walked in the door, and we had obviously Saquon and Will Hernandez and the two defensive guys last year, and then this year I thought we drafted well, and it's funny, Joe. You watch a player, and I'm in a firm opinion. Once you're lucky, twice you're good. Well, when you see a rookie player do something, multiple times, but be inconsistent with it, you feel like you got a talented guy who just needs to get dialed in. One of the things we've all forgotten is. One of the things we've all forgotten is we're drafting players that are 2 to 3 years younger than we used to. All right, so they they play college ball. They're there for 3 years. They're 21 years old. The point that I want to make is how many guys come out of high school and go to college and are All-American their freshman year? But yet that's what we expect for these rookies to come in and be great players from the jump. It doesn't work that way because you turn around and you guys know it. You got 21-year-old kids playing 28-year-old men. That's a whole different world. Plus, you look at the game that college plays, and I know you guys, your eyeballs are falling out of your head on Saturdays. Excuse me, from watching. The college game's not our game. Right. It's a different game.
Very, very.
Oh, no question about it.
It's a completely different game. So the adjustment period, takes a little bit longer than it used to.
No doubt. One last question because I know you got to go.
Right.
You're the leader of the Giants. Why does it matter how often the GM of the Colts or the Ravens or the Jets talks to the media? I mean, that answer surprised me at the press conference because, listen, I'll give you a half a compliment. You're a good interview, right? You know that. You're good at these press conferences. You're very entertaining. It's communicating with the fans, and I think the fans want to hear more from you. So why does it matter how often a GM of another team talks to the media?
Listen, guys, I'm going to tell you, that is a very fair question. That is a very fair question. We've discussed it internally, and we're going to make adjustments.
Well, we're here anytime, Dave.
Yeah, anytime you want to talk to us, Dave. Have no fear.
Have no fear.
Yeah, anytime you want.
All right, boys.
Thank you, Dave. We appreciate it.
Dave, thank you for coming on. Good luck going into the season. Good luck with the draft and all of that.
All right, take care, guys. God bless.
Thank you.
Dave Gettleman.
Dave Gettleman, GM of the New York Football Giants.